Hey all, welcome to another Retro Bits on the Road. Today, we're heading up to a big vintage computer swap meet, so grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's go on an adventure. In today's Retro Bits on the Road, we'll be heading from my home in Northern Virginia all the way to the New Jersey coast. With no traffic, the drive should take just about 4 hours. This being the Washington, D.C. metro area though, there's no such thing as no traffic. That's fine though, I've taken Friday off, so I have all day to get there for the main event on Saturday morning. You may already be familiar with Vintage Computer Federation events such as VCF Midwest that took place just recently. But did you know that the organization also hosts dedicated swap meets? I've been to one such a fair a year ago at the System Source Museum near Baltimore, but that one was relatively small. I've heard the New Jersey swap meet at the InfoAge Museum is much bigger, so I'm excited to see for myself. But before that, no trip to InfoAge is complete without a pit stop at the Columbus Farmers Market. This is all one giant interconnected facility that spans the entire complex and features over 65 stores inside, including an Amish market with plenty of food and retail items from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. There's also a huge outdoor flea market 3 days a week, but not today. It's lunchtime and the place is packed. There are all types of food vendors selling everything from meats and produce to kimchi and artisan pickles. The long line at this barbecue stall tells me their stuff is legit, but the irresistible smell of fried chicken beckoned, so I ended up going with that instead. Coincidentally, there's also a retro video gaming shop in the market. They have consoles, games, and accessories for sale going all the way back to the Atari 2600. Prices were reasonable given that it's a retail location, so I picked up a loose copy of Kung Fu for the NES for $8. On the way out, it's mandatory to pay a visit to one of the several Dutch bakeries that churn out fresh breads, pies, and all other manner of sugary confections. These still warm from the oven pecan sticky buns called to me, and you better believe that I had no choice but to answer that call. Anyway, we should probably move on before this turns into a food channel. So move on we did, arriving at the Jersey Shore with enough daylight left to take a stroll on the boardwalk and enjoy the unseasonably warm late October weather. After a dinner of fresh seafood right next to the water, it was off to the hotel so we could get an early start in the morning setting up my vendor table. That's right, I'm here to sell. I've accumulated way too much vintage stuff and need to free up space so I can buy more vintage stuff. The circle of life. The next morning, we were up before the sun in order to arrive at the venue by the 7 a.m. setup time. The meet was hosted in the overflow lot across the street from the InfoAge Science and History Museum, which was the location of VCF East earlier in the year. As we pulled in, a few intrepid folks had already arrived and begun their setup, but the lot was mostly empty. A few quote-unquote sellers were obviously there to scout out and snap up the best deals before the general public was allowed in at 8 a.m. As the sun started to rise, the parking lot began filling up with not only people, but a kind of frenetic energy. Today might be the best chance of the year to buy, sell, or haggle on that one item you simply couldn't find anywhere else. The weather forecast was perfect, optimism was in the air, CRTs littered the ground, and the excitement was tangible. As for me, I felt like a kid in a candy store and couldn't wait to start bargain hunting. But first, I had to set up my own table. I brought a pile of random stuff to sell, some you've seen on the channel, others never made the cut. Some were projects I never had time for, and others were completed and needed to go in order to make space. I've never been a seller at an event like this, but I have high hopes. Leaving the table to my partner Elaine, the bargain hunting began. The first table I visited had an array of computers, both old and new. Something caught my eye though, could it be? No way! A real deal NEC Multisync 3D. I've been looking for this exact model for years with zero luck, and here it is for only $20. Are you kidding me? The seller said it needed some minor repairs, but at that price, it's definitely coming home with me. The Swap Meet is a CRT enthusiast's dream come true. No need to worry about them breaking and shipping either. It's all I could do not to buy 3 or 4 of them right off the bat. Check out this collection of early Japanese PCs. Imported goods were well represented, and in some cases you could get one of these unique machines for less than the price of shipping alone. One of these NEC PC98s would pair nicely with my new multisync. No, I'm here to sell, not buy everything in sight. Like me, other vendors had a pretty eclectic mix of stuff. My neighbor to the left had an entire crate of Windows Vista, new in shrink wrap. Games too. I played the heck out of Carmen Sandiego back in grade school nearly 40 years ago, so it's neat to find sealed copies still floating around. Even more CRTs to tempt me, and these are in really nice condition. Far from being e-waste anymore, the value of these things has been going up steadily. This Gateway model supposedly has a Sony tube, but is it a Trinitron? Ah, Vivatron. Same difference. More Japanese imports. That is a cool MSX too. I really dig all the crazy designs and colors these things came in. I have been meaning to pick one up. There's a 2 Plus as well, and an SX64. I saw at least 3 or 4 of these today. Some had been snapped up early for as little as $200. Haha, yeah, someone's definitely been shopping on Yahoo Auctions Japan. I know the feeling. The Japanese-inspired labels on each of this vendor's items are informative and really stand out. Here I thought I came prepared with basic printouts. The systems and parts on offer here include a stylish IBM Net Vista Tower all in black, but this stuff is a little too new for my purposes. A Commodore 1541, another CRT, a Logitech Wingman, test equipment, and a boxed IBM CGA card. There's also this nice looking original model Tandy 1000. I've already got one, but I have been on the lookout for a 1000 SX. Ah, good old Heroes Quest and Quest for Glory 2. Perfect Sierra adventures to pair with the Tandy. Now, this is an Apple II clone I've never seen before. Maurice L. Henry III. That looks like someone personalized their own machine to me. A complete PCXT with an It Freakin' Works sticker? Is there some YouTube history there I'm not aware of?
Yeah, some nice stuff here.
There are also a lot of TI-99s at these things, including the one I'm selling, which is $5 higher. Uh-oh, competition. Leading edge PC, a nice ViewSonic with a generic mini tower, an AT&T that looks like a 6300 but not quite, a stack of IBM PS2s, and what's this? An imported Super Famicom tucked in between it all, seemingly out of place here amongst all of these business machines. We haven't seen many yet, but have no fear, there are plenty of Apples around today, so more are sure to make an appearance. Ah, tubes. I was wondering when they'd turn up. Need a Seagate MFM drive or two? I did see a few folks selling radio gear, and video disc players. I can't say that I've ever seen these before. Not Laserdisc, these are read with a stylus, just like a vinyl record. Neat! As the morning wore on, I split my time between bargain hunting, filming, and manning the table. Slowly but surely, items started to find new homes, including all 4 of the computers I brought. I built a pile of DIY kits for projects that have been featured on the channel, and sold a bunch of those too. If you were Commodore hunting, you were in luck. Here's a rare item, the MSD SuperDisc 2, a pirate's dream machine. Not one, but 2 1581 drives for $400. Buy in bulk and save, I guess. These 128s were half the going eBay rate as well.
It's like a 80s large.
Even more Japanese imports. Another PC98, complete with keyboard, monitor, and software. This all-in-one FM Towns 2 is just about the coolest and most unique system I saw all day, but the original tower model is right up there. I came this close to buying the latter, but when I came back it had already been sold. Poop. Now here's a lot of TI-99 stuff, including a hard-to-find sidecar RAM upgrade and interface cards for a peripheral expansion box. Some sellers ended the day looking defeated, their tables still full. I suspect that their prices were the reason. Common items should be priced for an impulsive decision and to take advantage of buyers' fear of missing out. I did promise more Apple stuff, and this table delivers the goods. Like this Minty Fresh 2C with Alps key switches. Oh yeah, that's nice. And a real deal Bell & Howell Darth Vader with matching disc too. Here's a very sad Mac Plus, just waiting for someone to take it home and show it some love. A Panasonic senior partner, you don't see these every day. 31 pounds, take that SX64. This TRS-80 Model 16 has both Z80 and 68,000 processors and can run the multi-user Xenix OS. You tend to see a lot of this type of stuff at the Hamfests, but there were a few console stereos for sale. I don't know, I think Usagi Electric's Magnavox Concert Grand would win this fight. This PVM seems to have suffered deflection collapse, resulting in permanent screen damage. That's a shame. Several good PVMs were bought and sold before the 8 AM public opening, and at a third of the asking price of this one. Portables were well represented, including this Atari Portfolio and a trio of Tandys. I'm not familiar with these other two though. This Radiola AR812 semi-portable was state-of-the-art in 1924. $289 new, or over $5,000 adjusted for inflation. This dual 8-inch disk drive is an absolute unit. That's satisfying. There's an entire Apple cart worth of projects here. Pretty much all of them were sold by the end of the day. This Atari 400 has issues, but it's in nice physical condition. It was listed for $30, but I snagged it for $25. No VCF event is complete without a free pile, the contents of which changed hour by hour. I brought a bunch of items to place on the stack, and they all disappeared quickly. Oh man, this boombox takes me back to the 80s and recess at my elementary school playground. Presenting a pair of pet projects, perfect for putting in your personal pile of previously prized period possessions. Please pay the purveyor promptly. These boxed game systems are in really nice condition. More Apple IIs as well, along with sealed AtariSoft games for them. You don't see that every day. I counted at least 16 consoles for sale at this table, but they may have had more hiding in the back of the truck. There's no shortage of PCs and parts to build your dream system. As a bonus, everything on this side table is free. Surely there's something here that someone somewhere needs. Here's a compact portable for only $20, missing some bits though. A Mac SE, also $20. Too bad this Amiga wasn't as cheap, but that's just the reality these days. A variety of VMUs, this yellow Dreamcast for $30 isn't bad. And one more compact for good measure. This one looking more complete with a price that reflects it. Even more consoles, including a couple of complete OG Xbox bundles. Various box games, a PS1 Slim for only $30, and a 6-switch Atari 2600 lot marked down to just $50. It's seen better days, but the price is right and it comes with a pile of games and accessories. Old AV gear is a common sight, as are random modern game titles. Heck, even I was selling a few duplicates from my own collection. This Atari Classics Evolved for the PlayStation Portable is only $5. I've got a PSP, but no software for it, so I'm gonna snag this. More PC projects, and what's this? An Atari 5200. I don't really want one, not really, but somehow it ended up coming home with me. Stick around to the end for the full story. A painted Amiga 500? Not for me. An Octane 2 with a keyboard from an earlier Indigo, perhaps? What's this I spy? A clean Commodore 1702. Hard to pass one of these up, but I still have my eye on a few other CRTs. Maybe if I sell one, I'll come back. Hey, look at that! An empty Sears Telegames video arcade box. Mine's missing its box, but this is for a Light 6er version anyway. You don't see boxed Odyssey consoles that often. I've heard of the 300 before, but I've never come across this 4000 model. Ugh, a Sinclair 1000. Shouldn't this be on the free pile? Here we've got some heavy iron, a teletype, a massive Heathkit printer, just all kinds of stuff. This is definitely the largest swap meet of its type that I've been to in recent years. Some hamfests might be bigger overall, but they're only 1% vintage computer stuff, whereas this VCF swap meet is the exact opposite. By early afternoon, my table was starting to look pretty sparse. Shortly after I took this, the Sears Total Video System was sold as well. All that was left now was to pack up the few remaining unsold items along with my new purchases and hit the road for home. Wow, what a great day. I did pretty well too. I sold most of the big ticket items that I brought, and the half dozen things I put on the free pile were taken, so I didn't have to bring any of those home. In the end, I sold 4 systems and I bought 2. I sold 1 CRT and I bought 1. In the end, I brought home less than I started with, so mission accomplished. Anyway, let's take a look at the things that I picked up at the VCF Swap Meet. Alright, first up we have the NEC Multisync 3D, and the reason I've been looking for one of these monitors for years and haven't been able to find one is because they can do CGA, EGA, and VGA up to 1024 by 768, digital and analog RGB, and they can sync down to 15 kilohertz. So they're the perfect monitor for the Amiga, Atari ST, Apple IIgs, X68000, and the Mr. FPGA. There are digital controls and an onboard memory to remember the position settings for every different refresh rate and resolution, and they really are the perfect monitor for any retro system that can emit some form of RGB. Now, the seller did say it had some vertical deflection problems, so I'm going to have to look at that, and I will do it in the very next episode, so look forward to that. But really, I am super psyched to have found this I would have even paid $100 for it, but to find it for $20 was just an amazing deal, so I am totally psyched to get working on this NEC Multisync 3D. Next up, we have this lovely Atari 400, and it's in really, really nice condition physically. The label says, well, it's hard to read, but it seems to indicate that the video is blank, and it was priced at $30, but I got it for $25. So this will be a future project, but it's a very nice starting point, and for $25, who can pass up a lovely Atari 400? Gotta catch them all. Next up, we have this Atari 5200, and I simply can't overstate how massive this thing is. It is literally this giant black slab of plastic that takes up the entire desk. The footprint is bigger than the Atari 400, it's bigger than the 2600. I've never seen one in person, but this thing is absolutely huge. Now, the story behind this is I wasn't looking to buy an Atari 5200. I don't know if anybody ever really is, but the seller really wanted to get rid of it, and he's like, what will it take you to walk away with this system today? And I'm like, and he's like, will you take it for $5? And I said, yes, I'll take it for $5. So I got myself an Atari 5200 for $5. Now, it does have some cracks in the plastic here that have been repaired, and it is missing one controller. I guess these things were pretty fragile, so maybe the first one broke, but the controller that remains is in relatively nice shape, so that looks pretty good. And another thing is that it came with its RF modulator, which is good because apparently the DC power for the system is plugged into the RF modulator and then transmitted to the system over the RF video cable. There's no power port on the system itself, so if you don't have this modulator, you can't power the system. I wonder if that adversely affects the video quality of the system, putting the power over it. But yeah, I've never seen anything like that before. That's really weird. But there you have it, an Atari 5200 for $5. What we've got here is a set of keycaps for an IBM Model M keyboard. And what's funny is that a few episodes ago I showed a Model M that was donated to the channel that was missing a control key. And there is indeed a control key in this set. I don't believe it's a full set, but it has the control key. And the best part about this is that it was sitting in a vendor's free pile. So I didn't have to pay anything for it. I just stumbled upon it and I said, wow, I need that, and it's there and it's free. Couldn't be more perfect than that. Yeah, okay, I didn't buy this at the swap meet. I got it on the way there at the farmer's market. So, you know, for $8, I couldn't say no because you know my history with Kung Fu Master on the Apple II and the Commodore 64. I enjoy the NES version as well, and I like to support the small businesses, especially the ones that are selling retro and vintage computer stuff. So there it is, Kung Fu Master for the NES. And last but not least, we have Atari Classics Evolved for the Sony PSP. I got this for $5 from a vendor at the Swap Meet, and it's got some classic games on there, you know, remastered versions, upgraded versions of stuff like Asteroids, Battlezone, Centipede, Lunar Lander, Millipede, Missile Command, Pong, Super Breakout, Tempest, and Warlords. So 11 classic games and over 50 unlockable Atari 2600 titles. So that's cool because I did get a PSP donated to the channel a while back, but I don't have any games for it. So I saw this for $5 and I said, yep, why not? Some Atari classics for the PSP. Got that, and then they had this sitting next to it for $1. And no, I didn't buy this. They just threw it at me and said, take it away, you know, we don't want this. I don't want this. Does anybody want this? Mike Myers, Saturday Night Live, the best of. It was listed at $1. I got it for free. I don't see myself watching this on the Sony PSP, but I had to take it, so I took it. There it is. All right, that's a wrap on another RetroBits road trip. Did you see anything at the swap meet that you would have bought? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much to the organizers and volunteers for putting together such a great event. I'll definitely be going back next year, and maybe I'll see you there too. I hope you enjoyed this bit. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on RetroBits.